Cleaning and troubleshooting your 6-volt fountain pump kit. 90% of the time when the pump stops operating is because of a clog or the spindle shaft holding the impeller becomes loose, allowing the impeller to magnetically pull and adhere to the impeller shaft housing. We will teach you in this video how to take your pump apart to either clean it or reseat the spindle shaft back into position. Before doing so, turn the panel over onto its face and disconnect the pump. Now remove the fountain heads or tubing from the pump. Gently pull the faceplate off from the front of the pump. Inside is a cap over the impeller housing. On the side of this cap is a small tab of which you can use to pry the cap off of the housing. Now you can see the impeller. Check to make sure no debris is preventing the impeller from spinning. To remove the impeller, simply grab it and pull it out of the housing. After removing the impeller, you will notice a metal spindle. This is the impeller shaft. Be sure this is fully reseated into the impeller housing by pushing on the top of the shaft. Also be sure that the throat of your nipple and your fountain heads or tubing are free from debris that may cause clogging. Now it's time to put your pump back together again. Do this by inserting the impeller back over the shaft into the impeller housing, then placing the cap over the impeller housing, and finally snapping your faceplate back into position. Reattach your fountain heads or tubing, submerge the pump in water, and place your panel in optimal sunlight. Some useful tips to remember is that your pump can actually be running and working even though you're seeing no performance from the pump. The best way to make sure your pump is working is taking apart your pump so that your impeller is exposed. Place the panel in full sunlight and see if your impeller is spinning. If it does, then your pump is working and you may want to check for clogs within your tubing or fountain heads. If it doesn't spin, then listen to it carefully for any operation noise. If your impeller is stuck against the housing, it will still make noise even though your impeller isn't spinning. If this happens, you will want to reseat the impeller shaft back into its correct position by pushing on the top of the shaft while the impeller is exposed. Solar exposure is another important element. In order for the pump to perform at its best, the panel must be positioned optimally as described in the setup video. Pumps will reduce in performance or stop performing altogether when a cloud passes over the sun or on cloudy days. If available, a battery backup unit can prevent this from happening. Shadows are also a known enemy of solar-powered products. We recommend when setting up your solar panel, do so in the early morning. Then between the hours of 10 a.m. and 4 p.m., check your panel every hour to be sure shadows don't cross it throughout the day. Shadows move 360 degrees around objects throughout the day and grow longer throughout the fall and winter seasons. So we recommend checking the panel on a monthly basis using this process. Shadow crossings on the panel will cease the pump from operating or cause batteries to prematurely fail if your model has a battery option available. This concludes our video, and we'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch it. Be sure to check us out on the web at www.siliconsolar.com.